And welcome everybody out there in Twitch and D&D land. I hope you're all having a fantastic time. Before we jump into the action, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, as you can see right there. If you do enjoy our content, that is. And if you don't enjoy the content, comment down below about how much of a failure I am and how terrible my content really is. Outside of that, if you're interested in checking this out live, you can go over to twitch.tv/ProDMJoey and hang out with us over here. We're here most days of the week where we play Dungeons & Dragons all of the time. And, in addition to all of that, if you want to join any of our games, including this one, we have open slots available. Be sure to reach out and let me know. It is a pay-to-play community, though, so please keep that in mind. The last person who reached out got very, very upset when I told them that, and they apparently didn't read the description, listen to me, check out the description, follow any of my games, or listen to me. So, yeah, apparently that's a hi. If you ever wonder why people hate people in customer service, read. But anyways, I think that's going to be everything. All right, who rolled the 4? Jason, tell us what happened.
Let's see, we started off leaving Fort Daxio, finding out on the way out that the Myriad has put a bounty of 10,000 gold in each of our heads for the interference we caused in the plans. Right after we leave, heading south, we spotted a stone giant who starts chasing us, but Kai scares it off with a big growl. We also run into some wolves, but Alistair manages to convince them to leave us alone. Tempest manages to contact Reggie, who advises us to contact a Sir Uric at Castle Falcone, and we visit him, coming up with a plan to go to a ball and meet with someone who has contacts with both the Clasp and the Myriad. During all of it, Kai was suffering major ice cream headaches and just very confused about all the fantastic fancy food they were having. And that's it.
Yeah. Well, there was a lot more.
Oh, sorry.
You all were told about a ballroom party that's going to be happening that one Lustrin Zeth will be at, who Sir Uric believes has ties with the Myriad and might actually be somebody higher up on the rungs. However, every time he gets remotely close, he loses the trail of these individuals, because that's kind of what they do when they know they're being actively hunted. So, you all are going to be taking some crash courses on etiquette, as some of you have been given very specific roles. Now, I believe the roles are Terran and Sneak are going to disguise themselves as diplomats or rich folk of some caliber. Kai is Terran's personal bodyguard. Tempest is Sneak's personal bodyguard, and Alistair is going to be the liaison between you and anybody else that you all interact with, since he projects himself in a much more proper manner than everybody else does, and he seems to carry himself with a little bit more finesse than many of you. Tactical finesse. Or maybe that's just his fear of Sir Uric. Who knows? But anyways. You all are given places to stay here in Falcone Castle, and they are immaculate rooms. They are massive, beautiful, large rooms filled with any niceties that you could wish for. You have your own bowl of water for cleaning your hands. You have your own bucket for removing anything that you don't want. That has its own cover as well, and cushions on it for each of you. It's a very nice thing. Alistair, they have to give you a trough, though, because, well, big. They weren't prepared for a Frobowl coming over, sorry. But anyways, all of these rooms are incredibly nice, and each of you are given your own inside of this estate, with the assurance that this is a safe place for all of you to be. So, do any of you wish to do anything in the night?
settled in and getting used to the opulent surroundings is going to be enough.
I just has a massive headache.
A little too much sugar.
A lot too much
Exactly.
sugar.
Is
Exactly.
Taryn like rubbing blood and dirt around the door frame? You know, to change the smell of the place.
She has a familiarity with some of this kind of nobility and rich people stuff.
Never underestimate the power of rich people stuff.
Very true. Alrighty. Well, I guess if that is everything, then you all go to bed. Let's see if anything happens. Can y'all roll me some d20s, please?
Really? And am I going to be rolling low all day?
Quite possibly. Statistically, it is possible.
Yeah.
Now you're rolling lower than I am. What is that?
Missed 3 20s in a row last week.
I know where that luck came from.
Alrighty. So,
Like a Death Eater, but instead of life, it's just fucking luck.
nothing happens here. You all relax, you go to sleep, and in the morning you're all woken up by a very loud ding 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 going past each of your rooms. You look over at the gate in the windows, and the sun's not even out yet.
What? No.
Kai follows suit in his own room.
Alistair's already outside.
Alrighty. Alistair, you see that there is a standing elven woman who looks fairly nice, a little posh, proper, who's currently picking up a bucket that seems to be filled with marbles, and the marbles are currently, well, they look frozen. Hello, excuse me. Walks into each of the still sleeping people's rooms and pours a bucket of frozen marbles into your bed. No matter what direction you roll, they follow you.
Hey!
That's not nice.
We
I'm a
start
servant.
etiquette training now, or are you going to allow a child to be ahead of you in this course?
Yeah?
Yeah?
We start now. Out of bed, follow me. They pivot on their heels and walk out of the room.
I thought this was for Terran and Sneak.
Taryn doesn't need it.
No, Taryn, you're still getting it.
Well, she doesn't need it.
He just has hope in you two.
That's true. Okay.
Tempest will begrudgingly follow.
Alrighty. So, after a few minutes of her waiting very patiently at the top of the stairs with Alistair standing there as the only individual who just came out immediately, you all meet into the stairwell where you see the child of Sir Uric is already standing at 2 years old and holding a book on top of her head and just smiling.
This'll be fun.
So, I was told by Sir Uric, a very good and dear friend of mine, that most of you have 0 tact, 0 polish, 0 prime when it comes to how you interact with people of specific qualities of life, shall we say.
I don't know if I believe that. Like, that doesn't sound like us at all.
My interaction usually involves hitting them.
Right.
I
Well,
look up to just look away from them, just...
Yup.
God.
Well, I, over the next 4 days, am going to break you of all of those habits and train you exactly how a proper person can fit into this world and integrate into any civilization and any society that they please. The more you resist, the more torturous it will become. I need wisdom saves from Kai and Tempest.
Say out of character, this just seems like, oh, that sounds like just such a direct challenge. Come on now. But I understand in game.
You remind me of the man at the whorehouse I used to live at, and
Yep. Kai, you do actually manage to not succumb to the threat that they were throwing at you. However, Tempest, you're a little scared of this person. They're kind of scary. A whorehouse, you say? Now, what bond did you grow up in that you call it such a thing as a whorehouse? Which of you know the proper terminology to the individuals who work in that industry and the businesses that it is referred to?
I believe the term is insert here of the night.
No, also offensive terminology.
No.
None of you. Looks over at you, Kai. And you apparently worked with them? One of the finest and oldest industries known to civilization. A business that has survived the passage of time and all of the rules and laws and bearings of any civilization and society. And you don't even know the proper terminology to refer to it.
that's what the Giants called it.
This is going to be much harder than I believed. Sir Yurik, she calls
I mean,
downstairs.
Are the cli-
Yeah, I
clients-
told you I'll pay you triple.
I mean, aren't clients always right?
If a client is that disrespectful, they should not have the pleasure of finessing through your estate.
Well, that's happening.
Yeah.
I'm going to look at the child, and I'm going to say, "What's your secret?"
She looks over at you. You're furry. She's 2,
I'm aware.
and that was her response.
And you're small.
She nods.
I'm
believe that we
glad we
don't
understand
have
each other.
I believe we don't have that much time to waste now, do we?
No, I'm trying to evaluate exactly how we are going to manage all of this with these individuals. So, the first aspect about proper etiquette is knowing why we act like this, why we hold ourselves in specific positions. And that has to do with respect. Now, each of you, I expect by the end of today that you will have filled out 5 full pages of writing dictating exactly why you wish to show respect to individuals that you deal with.
Writing?
You are capable of writing, are you not?
The
The young Maddie is capable of at least rudimentary writing.
Yes.
Do dirty limericks count?
No, they do not.
Out of character, Tempest can write, but barely.
That's fair. So you're on par with the 2-year-old.
Yep.
Alistair, up next to the other two, just looking down. It was just staring at Tempest and Kai.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Well,
There are a few of us who did not have, shall we say, fortunate upbringings.
I thought reasonable adventurers and dutiful slayers of evil would at least have a rudimentary understanding of respect.
I'm a sailor.
And do sailors not have respect?
To the captain.
And that is all?
Yep.
I kick things in the balls.
She pulls out a ruler and cracks both of you on top of the head. You
Ow!
suffer 1 point of bludgeoning damage.
You're gonna say psychic damage.
Only Tempest suffers psychic damage. He failed the save. 1.
Over 30 degrees in this snake shed again.
What the fuck did you say about snakes?
30 degrees. That's all I heard.
I heard 30 degrees in the snake setting in.
Could the lady at least get a static shock when she slaps him?
No.
No.
She knows how to finesse her way around it.
Also a ruler, probably a large one.
She has a good ruler. And Maddie, who you now know is the name of the child, snickers a little bit. And when she looks down at Maddie, Maddie smiles and just stands very proper and posh.
By what shall we address you, ma'am?
You may call me Madame Murday. Or Instructor, if you prefer. You will not refer to me as anything else other than my designated titles. Follow me downstairs, and can one of you tell me why you will not refer to me as anything other than one of my designated titles? She turns on her heels and starts walking down the stairs.
Oh, that's just begging for a nickname.
Miss
Alice-
Disney titles.
Alistair sheepishly says, because it's disrespectful.
She looks over her shoulder, pulls out a tiny mint, and hands it to you, Alistair.
Lord. Giving him
Okay.
treat.
What you probably working, Kai.
Oh, she's gonna try.
And I may add as well that titles have meaning.
That is very true. Thank you. Now, the meaning of my title, Madame, it is to show that I am a woman of respect and of caliber. It is to show that I have earned some position inside of this world and the respect of influential individuals such as Sir Uric, who all of you know. No. I have tutored some of the finest individuals in all of Tal'Dorei, and many of the politicians, many of the individuals who now currently work in the higher echelons among the Tal'Dorei Council themselves, many advisors, many adversaries, and many adventurers alike. I am one of the most highly sought-after tutors in this land. I have more positive interaction with shaping this world than I believe any of you currently wield individually. As such, respect will be given.
Yes, instructor. And Alistair has kind of been put down by that comment.
Yeah.
So, did she pull the mint out of her pocket or something?
No,
Convince.
Oh.
not
Where-
right
where-
now. Why would she?
No, where'd she get from?
Oh, she pulled one out of her pocket.
Oh. Yeah, Kai is. He wants to slide her hand right now.
But you're thinking about it.
Oh, he's definitely thinking about it.
So, the purpose of doing all of this and being so stern with all of you is so that you can at least fit into the proper mentality of the individuals you are going to be mingling with. This is how high society thinks and acts. If you manage to give yourself a title that will compliment you towards their grace and their capacity, they will treat you as equals. Right now, none of you have a title, therefore, you will be treated as lesser. That is how their society deems appropriate, and how the society works. Now, there are many aspects about titles that you need to be aware of, and the etiquette of it. She brings herself over to a table, stands over towards where the head of the table is, and looks at you all expectantly.
I will walk over to the chair on her right hand side.
Okay. You walk over there.
I'll
So
walk.
was this a dining table thing?
Yes, it's a dining table.
Okay, I just thought it was like a table
Sorry, a dining
for
table.
her.
I'll walk to the facing chair.
The chair that faces her?
The faces Terran.
Oh, okay.
Tempest is just gonna grab the nearest one.
Alrighty. The moment you
going
grab
to-
the chair, she
Oh.
whack right on top of your hand.
Ooh.
Tempest, another 2 points.
I'm gonna be dead by the end of this, aren't I?
There is the possibility of this.
I'm going to stand behind the table,
Okay.
like to the right of Tempest or whatever.
Okay. Now, the first thing that you did wrong was you touched the chair before you allowed your superior to sit down. The second thing you did wrong, and she looks at everybody, none of you offered a chair for your superior to sit in. If you are in a close relationship or in a guarding capacity or responsibility, looks over at Kai and Tempest, it is your responsibility to be sure that the individual that you are with is accommodated in every situation that arises. Seating is even one. So, as such, you grab the back of the chair, lift up slightly, and pull out with ease. You allow them to begin sitting as you scoot it in with them simultaneously.
No. I return. I don't fuck. Sorry.
Excuse me. Did anybody bring up coitus? Also, whack! 2 points of damage against Jukai. There is a young lady here, she gestures to Maddie. You will watch your foul tongue in front of her.
So essentially, I'm supposed to be Sneakster's bodyguard and babysitter.
Yes.
Gotcha.
So, let's try that again. Sneak, please take your position appropriately at the table, which would be across from Terran. Terran, you take your seat, or you stand there. Kai and Tempest, I need sleight of hand checks from the two of you. Sneak and Terran, I need acrobatics checks. Etiquette's a little difficult.
I lucked out on this.
Yes, because you are an advisor, you seat yourself. And you know how easy that is? You sit down. And you're so big, it doesn't matter if it's too far out. You'll just reach over. So all of you actually manage to time it very well and appropriately. None of you squeak or push against the floor to make a disgusting sound. Wonderful. Now, after that has been commenced, the two of you must wait behind them. Now, what is each of your dominant hands? Looks at Terran and Sneak.
Right.
You're both right-handed.
Left.
You're left-handed. Kai, you must sit on Terran's left. Tempest, you must sit on Sneak's right. Since there is no position for you to sit at, you must stand.
Doesn't that mean I'll be sitting on top of you?
Can I float?
No, Terran's on the right-hand side, which means Terran's right is open as a seat. Now, if there was... No, you may not float while inside of here. That is very rude. Unless it is a cultural situation, which you have to express yourself appropriately.
I can't float? Okay, fine.
When I sit down, then I jab Terran in the ankle. Stealthily.
Roll a sleight of hand.
It's like, oh, man, okay.
So,
public.
as such, Alistair, you have to sit on Sneak's left-hand side as the advisor for the two of them. Now, if there would be other individuals joining us at this table of status, the two guards would not be seated at all. They would be standing at attention the entire time, regardless of anything else. Now, as you can see before you, we have 2 spoons and 3 forks and 2 knives, as well as 3 different glasses and a bowl and 2 plates. Each one of these serves a very particular purpose for a meal that you are all going to be interacting with. The expectation is that you interact with this meal in a capacity that is fluid, natural. First rule, you never touch your silverware to the china. Ever. Terran and Sneak, that's kind of a strange thing. Now, allow me to show you. She gestures, and you see the same servant from yesterday, Call, comes out, and he places down a single scoop of soup in each of your bowls. It appears to be a tomato bisque. So,
if I'm not allowed to touch the spoon to the bowl, how am I going to get the last of the soup out of there? Am I going to lick it out, drink it, or what?
you will in fact sip it out.
Oh, so I can drink it? Okay, cool.
Not from the get-go.
Oh,
Watch. She picks up the spoon that has the most flat side to the top. It's less oval and more circle, almost flattened out. And she brings it in, scoops it up, dips once, and noiselessly sips it back. See?
that was the weirdest thing I've ever seen.
Now, all of you try.
Is that a sleight of hand?
Yes, it is.
Alistair's just staring at this. He's like,
Can I do it with disadvantage?
Yes, you can.
'Cause Tempest
Alistair,
just
what are
like-
you like?
he's just like, he's trying not to be slackjawed at the amount of weird stuff that they have to do.
Keyword trying.
He looks over to the to the 2-year-old.
Mhm.
Is she also doing this?
Perfectly. I need a sneak, not a sneak. I need a sleight of hand from Sneak and Kai.
Oh.
And yes, the 2-year-old is doing this perfectly. Though the spoon is a little big and does splash on her cheek a little bit, but she is seated right beside Madame Madra. So, Madame will dab at her face appropriately. Very good. It seems that this is not going to be too terribly difficult for all of you. Now, as you are doing this, it is important that you keep your eyes alert to the table. Look around, be aware of any conversations that are going to be happening over across the table, so that if the attention is being pulled towards you, you are not caught off guard with your mouth full. Also, you should never have a full mouth while eating anything.
Stares at Kai.
Isn't that how you eat?
Right?
No, you take a reasonable amount, you enjoy it, you savor it, and then you can wash it down appropriately. It is very important that if you wish to show respect to somebody, you do not draw attention of a conversation towards them until after they have gone through a cycle of eat and sip. If somebody does not sip, they are symbolizing that they are, in fact, uninterested in having an open conversation right now. However, if you wish to have a higher position of authority and position within the world, you can assert that over somebody to force them into the conversation as well. It is incredibly rude that you do not interact with your superiors, and will be looked down upon by everybody in the room if you are not ready and hurry in that one instance to interact with them.
Tempest will lean over to Sneak and be like, what, next she's going to say we can't talk with food in our mouths?
You may not speak with food in your mouth under any circumstance. If you happen to take a bite of something that is a little more chewy than you were anticipating, it is your responsibility to pick up the spare napkin on the side and cover while you chew.
Kai stealthily mouths nutso to
There is nothing nuts about me. She seems very observant. She is a teacher.
Oh,
So, slight rejogging of my own memory here.
Mhm.
Am I seated at the table as well?
Yes, you are. You are to the right of, or you are to the left of
Left
Sneak.
of Sneak.
Yes. Across
Just-
from Kai.
Yeah, just double checking just to see if it's. Actually, I'm actually there because I'm not doing any of the thingamabobs.
Oh, you're not interacting with all of this?
Well, I am, but like you haven't asked me to roll anything.
Yeah, I did. Twice. Roll a sleight of hand.
Well, I'm sorry, you never openly stated. You said everyone
You
except.
didn't have to with the chair because you were by yourself. You just had to sit down. You didn't have to coordinate
Yes.
anything.
For the soup eating, we still need a sleight of hand.
That's 17.
17, not bad. Yeah, no problem at all. You're good at this etiquette stuff, it turns out. So, while you're having your conversations, it is very important to make sure that you are aware of your surroundings. As such, we are going to move on to the second part of the meal. Call, please. Before any of you are remotely close to finish with your soups, they're already being taken away from you.
Hey!
But
This-
we didn't get to the drinking from the bowl part.
You said not to eat with a full mouth. I would have finished right now.
Right? Like, wait a minute. What's going on here?
There's a face palm at this end of the table.
There absolutely is.
That's why you eat with a full mouth. You don't know when someone's going to attack.
We are moving.
Exactly.
We are moving at an increased rate so that we can accomplish more at a time.
That seems like the backwards way to teach people things.
Well, unfortunately, I do not have the decades that are required for teaching the two of you. I only have 3 days. So, we have to expedite specific lessons. Understood.
Yes, madame.
Now, the entree is brought out, and you all see that there is a baked potato slit open with some type of creamy substance sitting on top, chives riddled across it, and scallions draped across as well. There is a little bit of this reddish-looking liquid dropped all the way in a perfect circle around the potato itself, as well as a fresh glass of water being provided to all of you. No ale at all.
I get so many ideas.
So, this is one of the more difficult things to eat with etiquette. You see, you never want to obstruct the table's view from yourself by cutting it open. If you do that too quickly, the steam will rise and break off any connections that you have to the table. Once that connection is broken, if somebody was paying attention to you, they may deem you as lesser and no longer wish to interact with you at the table. Now, for some people, that may be desired. For most of us, however, that is not good. How do you get information if people do not wish to interact with you?
Get him in the balls.
Crack across the table. Another point of damage. There will be no testicular jostling of any kind at this table. Do you understand?
Any kind?
Any kind.
Don't
There's
worry.
no references to genitalia.
Don't worry, tip us later.
Jeez, this lady.
So, with the potato, she pulls out a longer fork with the prongs that stick out a little further, and then a shorter knife that seems more curved towards the top. You hold position down with your dominant hand, with your indominant hand, and you cut with your dominant across diagonally. Once you open up one area, you see the steam rises a little bit because it's only a small cut. You move over to the opposite side. Do that as well. And then towards the center, 3 quick cuts. And the steam never rises above her shoulders before dispersing completely.
Wouldn't it be just easier to pick it up and start eating it?
This is not about ease, this is about etiquette. I'm
It's another
sorry.
sleight of hand.
This one is actually going to be a survival check.
Oh, gee.
Okay, yeah.
So all of you
Tempest
roll a
is doomed.
survival.
Tempest is doomed.
We're typically very good at these.
Another 17.
I'm still rolling a disadvantage if that's cool.
Yeah, totally. Oh, wait, no, you would have advantage because you're air puffs.
Okay, fair.
So 8.
Well, 8.
Okay, so Alistair and Kai, you actually cut it very well and appropriately so it never rises above you. Alistair, it's actually very easy for you to do because, well, you're big.
Advantage.
Everyone else, however, as you cut that slight bit, you cut deeper on the other side and just bursts open with steam, and you're like, ah, damn. And she will proceed to whack, 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 whack. Or sorry, whack, whack, whack. 3 of you. 1 point of damage each.
Guys, keep an eye out for the guy who took away the food.
Call. The man making
Call.
the food.
Oh yeah.
Who eats a
He
potato with a...
bringeth food and he
fork and
taketh
knife?
away.
Just grab that sucker.
So, now that you have your potatoes open, it is important for you to analyze what attributes this dish actually shares. You have yourself your primary starch, which is the potato itself. You have the butter on top, which you are actually supposed to let sift into the potato for a little bit longer, but apparently we skipped over that part a tiny bit. Which means
We're getting to the eating part.
we are getting there very momentarily. The steam that comes from inside of a potato from having it cooked is incredibly scalding and hot, which means by opening it up, you allow it to begin breathing, but you must now cut it into finer pieces so that you can then begin eating. It is good to be conscientious of the skin. If you are an individual who is aspiring towards an amount of health and you wish to project that, it is important that you cut through the potato but not the skin so you can separate the two and leave the skin as an aftermath.
There's so much thinking involved with eating now. My head hurts.
Now, if you are somebody who wishes to express your dominance at the table instead, what you would do is eat the skin as well and cut through it again without touching the plate. And she demonstrates through. I need a sleight of hand from everybody.
Just mouths and hiding where he's mouthing. I hope just kicking the balls.
Taryn, you can literally not fail this because the DC is 10.
Why
All right.
wouldn't you eat the skin? That's just wasteful to not eat that.
It is, and rich people are incredibly wasteful. You see Sir Yurik is currently walking by while reading a book and looks over his shoulder and then keeps walking.
Well, rich people suck.
Tell me about it.
You will not be speaking like
Actually,
that at this event.
Huh? Behind you.
Hey, Sneak, should I just go as a mute?
He's
That-
busy.
That may be preferable.
Are you
I guess
capable
I
of
was-
such a feat? Yes, Carl?
Maybe?
Sorry, Carl, I cut you off. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was letting them play that out.
Out of character real quick. If I'm being too much with Tempest, tell me.
Oh, I mean, I find this entertaining. If it's bothersome to anybody else, please express that to me, everybody, and then we can go ahead.
Well, no. So a little reminder about that. It was the one that was for health. It was to separate the skin from the potato.
Yes,
Yeah, and
if
then
you wish
eat
to
it
project
afterwards.
yourself like that. As a conscientious individual. That can also be correlated to somebody who is socially conscientious as well. So, if you do not eat the rind of the potato, the skin of the potato, then you are showing that you are socially conscientious, which can gain favor in specific influential people who are currently advocating for that. However, it can also gain unfavor with individuals that you think may or may not care, but do not act upon it regardless. There's thinking with etiquette. It's fun.
Separate
I was just
potato
wondering if
and
his
then eat it
nose is
afterwards.
bleed.
Yes, your nose is in fact bleeding.
See, I rolled for that, but I rolled good, so it was like, well, never mind.
So, next up, feel free to continue eating your potatoes. Now, it is important for all of you to recognize something else during this entire interaction. The other people at the table, what are they doing? Now, in certain cultures, it is completely unspoken of to ever be wasteful of food. So, if you find somebody who is from Marquette at this table, they will, presumably, eat every aspect of the food that they are ingesting. In Marquette,
See, these people make sense.
it is incredibly frowned upon. Whack! Do not interrupt me.
Ow.
2 more points. In Marquette, it is incredibly disrespectful to waste any amount of food because it is so scarce to come by during the harsher seasons that they experience. Whereas, if you interact with somebody from Tal'Dorei, or if you interact with somebody from Assyria, it may, in all possibility, be wasted. Just because it is not their favor, they're trying to be healthy, or they are trying to have a positive interaction, or they do not care about the social interactions. So know who you are dining with by their habits at the table. It is at this point I need everybody to give me a intelligence save. To
Saving
remember
throw?
all this shit.
Okay, but what if I don't know anything about the people I'm sitting with?
You watch their movements, and that will discern things about them. So, the only person who is keeping track mentally is Sneak. She looks at the blank stares of the other 4 of you. Take out your pieces of paper and write it down, please.
Writes it down.
We have paper.
Yeah, she gave you all paper. And
Does she give us pens, though?
not pens, quills. She's not trusting you all with pens. Those things are expensive.
Taryn writes it in Infernal, just out of spite.
Tempest will do the same in Primordial.
I will start writing on paper, keeping hiding while he's writing from everyone.
So,
Is he drawing dick pictures?
roll me a
Probably.
perception check.
How'd you know?
Because Kai,
Alistair just immediately goes to Sylvan.
that's fine. Write it in whatever dialect you would prefer. That is
She can read all of it,
perfectly
can't she?
fine. Oh, she's not reading your notes yet.
She's reading your mind.
Not like there's anything to read.
Valid.
Fair. Very fair.
Like pretty much anything that goes through his brain comes out of his mouth. So
So, the next portion of this is going to be a bit more difficult for some of you, because it involves your mouth.
I think I'm good with my mouth.
She does not recognize the innuendo.
Really? Really?
I rolled a 5!
Because Sneak is staring daggers at Who will say nothing.
I was going to say something, but Tempest beat me to it.
Now, do any of you know the story of who you are going to be pretending to be at this event?
Bodyguard.
Who are you going to be, not what you are going to be.
I assumed I was going to be Tempest.
Tempest the bodyguard.
Yes.
So yourself is who you are going to be.
Was I not supposed to be?
I would highly recommend anybody else.
I'm going to roll an intelligence save to see if he got that.
How about
That would be insight.
There
Okay,
is
okay.
a 10,000 gold bounty on each of our heads.
I got this covered. Tempest, you can be Kai. I'll be Tempest.
Insight, you see what she was getting at.
Okay.
So I would recommend both of you stay from the same areas that you come from, but you give yourselves different names and different stories. You are not going to be a sailor who just so happens to be an air genasi not named Tempest. You are going to have a different profession as a bodyguard. Maybe a ex-bounty hunter. Maybe ex-military from the Menagerie Coast. Maybe you served members of the Clovis Concord before retiring. Things such as that.
Okay.
And we give you a different name.
But
There's a 10,000 gold bounty on your head, and you are walking into an area that may be infested with myriad.
Okay.
I'll be BJ.
Bob Jones, wonderful title, very common in this area as well.
Yeah, sure.
Though you strike me more of a Brock.
Sneakster, what's my name?
I feel like Sam.
Brock Jones.
I suggest that we go through this completely one at
Nathaniel.
a time.
Yes, it would be.
Slapjack.
What'd you
You
call
say
it?
Instead of Nathaniel?
Nathaniel Slatterjap. I'm not good at making up names. I
Slatterjap?
hide.
Skyjack.
That is my thing.
Let's go with Nathaniel Skyjack.
Okay.
Teamwork. I like it.
There you go. So, and you are from...
The Menagerie Coast?
And what did you do for a living before being a bodyguard?
I looked for people.
And we call those bounty hunters. Now say
Yes.
it with me. Bounty
Bounty
hunters.
hunter.
Plural. It is a profession that involves many and numerous individuals. Bounty
Hunters.
hunters.
Ters.
There you go. Now say it all together, please.
Nathaniel Skyjet, Menagerie Coast, Bounty Hunters.
Ex-bounty hunter.
Ex-Bounty Hunters.
Yes. Wonderful. Now for the other one. We're going with Brock Jones. And where are you from, Brock?
I wanted to be from the Marjorie Coast.
That is perfectly fine. There are many people from the Menagerie Coast.
Okay.
And what did you used to do as a profession?
I was a whore. I'm sorry. Fuck. I'm sorry. Fuck boy.
It is called
I'm going-
consort. Whack.
Oh.
As I notice that he's going to like start, swearing again and again, I'm just like, I maneuver one of my hands over to the child, just cover the ears.
Yep. One hand over the head.
Yep.
Bonk. They are referred to as consorts.
Fine. I was a consort.
Oh, really? And what marvelous individuals have you worked with of esteemed quality and make?
I'm still covering her ears.
I don't know.
What was that? No, that was the other game. Never mind.
Let's see. I am out to sneak. By work with, she means fuck, right?
Yes. That is
Okay.
correct, Kai.
Maybe he's was such important people that he's not allowed to tell?
Yeah, I like that idea.
But
Now-
think of the scandal.
Do you have a preference of gender that you worked with, or are you
Male.
open? Preference of male. So, let's just give you a set of names of nobles who, well, may not be around currently. There is Da Torhan, Datorurhan, a diplomat from Marquette and has not left there in quite some time. If you are talking to somebody who might be Marquesian, it's best not to use that name just by happenstance if they know who that individual is. There's also Ying Bin Salman, YINGBIN This individual is from the Menagerie Coast as well. They have many different dealings across the Clovis Concord and is favored among many of the ilk. They are also notorious for being a bit of a floozy as they go around. And I believe those two names should be at least enough for you to drop with people giving you some type of certainty.
Wait, so we can say floozy?
Floozy is not an insulting term. It is a nice way of calling somebody something insulting. This is what nobles typically do. Find nice ways of saying the things that blunt minds say bluntly.
Why go through all the beating around the bush? Just say whatever the fuck you want if that's what you're trying to do.
Keep in
Because
mind,
that is not how you...
still hand over the head.
Yep. Crack! Because you are cursing in front of the child. 2 more points. I hope the 2 of you are keeping track.
I am.
Because I am
I'm at 86
doubtful you're
points.
making it. Like,
I'm at 86.
There's a cloaking dagger type of conversation to have in that. And that there's gray areas to hide one's intentions.
very true.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm gonna look.
sledgehammer, not dagger. Okay.
I'm gonna look at Tempest and Kai, and I'm going to remove my hand.
Yes. Thank you.
It's the least I can do.
Maddie leans over towards you, Taryn. Fuck.
No, that's not polite. And then I whisper, don't let your father hear it.
Let's see if she understands.
With like,
Roll a persuasion.
God.
Yeah. She just smiles with that childish and devious grin.
My niece is 2. I understand.
You just told her not to do something. She
I
just
know.
learned what no is.
Alistair is just staring at this exchange that he's been listening to.
Mm-hmm. So,
And he's just going to slowly turn to the madam.
yes.
Shall we continue this?
Lesson.
Yes.
Absolutely. Pacing at the table also expresses many different things that you should all be very aware of. If you consume your food like a barnhouse animal, you will be outed, immediately. As not somebody who belongs here. If you wish to eat in a slightly hurried pace, that is perfectly reasonable, but make sure you do so after you have gained some type of consent from the host at the current table. If the host is not at your table, then you get consent from the person who is highest up on the table. And that can be in many different forms. It can be to have a hushed conversation out back. It is to excuse yourself to go someplace else. It is to have a conversation with another individual. Any of these are perfectly reasonable for you all to execute. No problem at all. Of course, if you do not eat at the pace of the rest of the table, you will be forced to hand over your food, which means she holds up the ruler as you're about to scoot the thing off the table. Do you scoot it off the table? Can't hear you.
Yes.
Crack! 2 more points of damage. Do not ever touch your food with your hands. And leave the plate on the table. So, if you do not
I have lost 10 hit points.
if you do not keep up pace with all of them, then you will be looked down upon by the individuals who I previously explained, the ones who are not wasteful in any capacity, which would immediately disregard you in their favor. However, I recommend you stay at the pace of the table and eat appropriately. If, for some reason, you do not wish to be in the favor of the individuals who are looking for some social changes, then leave food. After you have your appetizer and your soup, the staff will take it all away. Call. And at this point, you all, I assume, have eaten the potato. It has been a long enough
If not, Kai
to
would
eat
be gulping
a
it down right now.
potato. It's a single potato. It's not hard to eat, you know? It's a good
Right.
potato, though. It tastes amazing.
And I assume we're talking like a red potato, not like a russet potato.
No, yeah, it's a red potato.
Yeah.
Very delicious. So, all of your trays are taken away, and Kyle comes back out with a bowl filled with water.
I will compliment Carl before he leaves. On
He
the food.
smiles and nods at you. That is another thing. Cracks you, Taryn. You do not speak to the employees of the manor. If you wish to compliment any aspect of what is happening, you compliment the host themselves. If the host is not present, you give them an open compliment at your table. You can learn a lot about people's intentions based off of how they reply from all of that. The staff is not looked at or treated with respect in most of these situations. They are treated only as individuals who come in, serve, and leave.
Kai is
Yeah,
biting
rich
his
people
lip,
suck.
just trying not to laugh hysterically.
So, if somebody at the table smiles and verbally confirms what you are saying or adds on to it as well, that is them expressing that they agree with you complacently and they wish to be in favor of the host. If somebody does not verbally confirm what you are stating and simply smiles and nods at you, they are more detached from the host and may have some type of resentment towards them. In addition to that, if they do not acknowledge what you said at all, that is an individual that you need to be aware of. She looks at all of you. So, if somebody brings that up, be sure to acknowledge it. Because they are not supposed to be at the event, and they do not understand proper etiquette. So, I agree. Sir Yurik made a fantastic entree for all of us.
That was the entree?
No,
Wait,
I'm
no, I
giving
don't
you
think he
an
knows what entree means.
I'm giving you all an example. I
Oh.
verbally confirmed.
I will
Yes,
look.
it's quite well.
I will follow suit and look over at Taryn, and I will nod my head and smile.
Kai's frowning at the fact there's no more food coming.
Indeed, quite the spread.
Tempest, Kai, as individuals who are going to be here under the guise of gods, it is your duty to nod in affirmation. With whatever the table says, so long as your charge agrees with them. So have an insight into what they agree with and what they are going to be saying. Now, this is the passage bowl. It is the bowl for all of you to clean your hands with, dab them slightly, wipe them off, make sure they are pristine, before the entree comes out to you all. So go ahead. Dab, dab. Wipe, wipe. Dry.
So there's more food?
Napkin in the bowl. Crack.
No.
Fuck you, Sneak.
Oh, I thought I saw him do something, but it was just such a blur for me.
He dabbed. So Kai, you take one more point of bludgeoning damage.
Oh.
Now, dab, dab, wipe, dry, napkin in the bowl. Do it.
I can't wash my face too?
No.
Oh.
You use your napkin to dab your face. But if you follow this etiquette, there's no need for you to do that. She looks over at you and, let's be honest, you have a little bit of food on you.
Yeah.
How big is the bowl for me?
It is the same size of all of theirs, which means you have to do each hand individually. But it works perfectly fine.
Just did.
Exactly. After you have done that, this is going to be the grace period of open conversations across the table. If you have any business that needs to be expressed, or if anybody wishes to express business with you, opportunities, any inquiries, that is where this section is held. This is not a social section, it is a business section of the dining experience. So, you do not use this opportunity to ask people, so where do you come from? You use this opportunity to engage with an individual about their business and hopefully persuade them while they're starting to feel intoxicated by the cuisine. After this situation,
Intoxicated? All we've had is water.
I raise my hand.
yes.
What are the likelihoods that I will be questioned at this point, considering my lower than Terran or Sneak's faux position?
Well, that is a very good question. More than likely, they will be engaged with directly while at the dining table itself. However, if they are busy having a separate conversation and somebody else's is looking like they wish to inquire, it is your responsibility to speak on their behalf, giving no firm confirmations that they do not previously establish and consent to you confirming for them. However, you may enact any type of further conversation and schedule that for them appropriately.
Thank you.
Yes.
Meta.
Very good.
Can Kai stealthily do minor illusion?
Stealthily cast a spell that has semantic and verbal components?
Oh, is it? Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, after this portion, you will have your main entree brought out to you. It is important that you drink whatever percentage of your water that you are anticipating to drink, because the entree is when the alcohol will be present. Of course, we are not going to have that during the mock trial. There's no reason for all of you to begin drinking at, she looks out the window, dawn, as it is now dawn 1 hour into this day.
What do you mean, not a good time to drink?
Kai develops this huge grin, which quickly turns to a frown.
So, if any of you anticipate having lipstick at this event, looks across the table.
Yes.
Very well. It is important that when you are sipping, that you keep your upper lip pressed over the crest of the cup itself, so that the bottom lip may leave a small imprint upon the glass, but you do not slurp the liquid. You drink and tip it back, and then you drink it with grace. You do not wish to imprint your lipstick on both sides of the cup. That is seen as barbaric and very disgusting for anybody who has to look across from you and see that.
Certainly.
Yes. So, go ahead and practice. 10 sleight of hand, you do it. The DC for most of the stuff is 10. It's not hard to succeed.
I have a +9.
Yup. So most of it, you're very...
I need to get some rogue levels.
Yeah, right? Rogues are ridiculous. But anyways.
That expertise.
Yeah. But anyways, when the entree is brought out to you, it is very appropriate that the first person at the table, seated closest towards the door, with the perspective of the door, that would be you, Sneak, gives a compliment to what you are smelling. So analyze the aroma of what is coming out and compliment it in some capacity. Call brings out
what Kai had for breakfast.
Whack! You take 1 bludgeoning.
Noted.
Call pushes out a large tray on a trolley, And you all do smell a very nice aroma coming out from it, though everything is covered currently to keep the moisture inside. Give me a survival check, Sneak. Seven. Meat.
Can I roll a
This smell-
survival check?
Yes, you may.
This smells like it will be very hearty. I know exactly which which part of the woods this grouse came from. It fed on berries and truffles.
This is actually plainer cow steak. You can smell Alice there. Plainer cows are native to Tal'Dorei specifically, but they're still very rare and very expensive. And to make steaks out of them is fairly difficult because you have to cook it to a very specific amount before it starts actually burning incredibly quickly. But if you undercook it, it's still a little rough to eat. Like a little tough. But Sneak, yeah, go ahead. Tell us, what do you smell about this? Certainly is meat.
Like I said, Sneak just comments on, this smells like this will be very hearty. I'm looking forward to something potentially more filling.
Give me a performance check.
That I can do.
Natural one. Natural one.
Dirty 20.
No, dirty 20s.
You create the most obnoxious amount of bullshit from your mouth that only Alistair can discern as bullshit because he smells what's really in there. As you start bringing up berries, you're like, yeah, there's no berries in there. There's no glazing in there at all. But everybody else is like, wow, yeah, that sounds right. Yeah, that sounds good. Good food. Wondrous job. And each of you are given a large, what's that steak called when it's like still attached to the big bone and it like hooks around?
A T-bone.
Is it a T-bone?
No, that's a tomahawk.
A tomahawk steak, yeah.
Yeah.
Is
I
it?
only know
Because
like one type of
We
steak.
have a
but it's just
culinary
like-
expert here. How about we let them answer?
Sorry.
I was gonna say, are you talking about a ribeye?
Yes, ribeye. It's the eye.
Yeah.
That's right, yeah.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
You're
There is a
weird.
large
Thank you.
ribeye steak that has sizzling butter currently falling off of it, that has all of these different herbs just lying around, and the very slightest bit of salt and pepper. Now, as soon as it opens up, Kai, she's already holding the ruler and looking at you as you are looking at that. I need Kai and Tempest to give me wisdom saves.
Disadvantage?
If you wish.
I didn't. It wouldn't have mattered much anyway.
This is honestly the most delicious thing either of you have ever smelled in your life. As you're like, you reach in to grab the bone and start lifting it up, crack, crack, right on top of both of your heads. Ah, shit!
Ow! What?
This is going to be the entree that is present at the ball. Of course, not cooked to this caliber. Sir Yorick's staff is much better than most individuals that you will experience in this world. And she gives a respectful nod towards Carl, who just smiles. Now, after they present the steaks to you, you see it attached to the bone properly. He will then walk over to each individual person at the table and cut it off of the bone for you. He grabs a rag, picks the bone, and with ease, with a knife, just cuts all the way around.
But he's not taking it, right?
No, he is not just the bone.
But what if I wanted to eat the bone?
You don't.
There's all kind of flavor in there.
You don't. She holds
Really?
the ruler up.
Kai hasn't heard this before, but is interested.
So, after he does that, he then pulls
Did
out...
she, did she also get? Did she miss the innuendo there too?
Yeah, she did.
Sorry, I heard when you said dit, I heard bitch, and I was like,
Yes, so did I.
Oh, we'd be having a different conversation at that point. Sir Yurik ain't going to tolerate that.
Just
You
be-
don't
to be
use that
clear-
word in front of his daughter.
Just to be clear, she can't read minds, right?
You
That word in particular.
you are
attempt
not
to-
sure.
I attempt to no.
But anyways,
Mental
takes-
screaming.
he takes the bones from each of you and then gives you a single scoop of asparagus on the side and a single scoop of mashed sweet potatoes.
I'm sorry, just as the culinary person, what's a scoop of asparagus? I'm confused.
It's when they only have spoons to like scoop it up and place it down. It's like one serving of it. They
That's not
scoop
how
it
that
with
works. That's not how asparagus works. I'm sorry.
Sure.
That shit rolls everywhere.
I didn't actually use like the spoon and the fork together. I
Yeah,
just
yeah.
don't do
That's
that.
what that's what
Sorry.
I was getting at. Just a scoop
Okay.
of
That's
it.
kind of the reason.
I'm
why he's
sorry,
using
I'll
two
shut up.
hands.
It's fine. It's fine.
I thought maybe he diced it up like really small. Like that's where I was like,
Right, that's what I was like. Wait a minute. I'm
No,
like,
Always
there's no
wanted
way he would do that.
pureed asparagus.
that's what I was thinking. Was like
No.
pureed asparagus. And I'm
He
like,
has the spoon and the fork where he gets a small helping of it and pushes it off with the fork.
okay.
Ah,
okay.
yes, a single scoop of mashed asparagus.
Exactly.
Oh, God.
Tommy, thank you.
That's exactly where my brain was. And I'm like, no, that's no.
But anyways, after he presents you with all of this, you all are beginning to salivate a little bit, and he excuses himself over to the door where he watches each of you.
I is just looking at her and looking at the steak back and forth.
It is important that you
ready to pounce.
analyze. You analyze exactly how easy it was to cut it from the bone. Now, if you are dealing with somebody with caul, you don't need to question it. You will be able to cut this with one of your finer pieces of china, one of your larger knives that are still butter knives. However, at this event, you are unsure of the exact quality that they are going to produce for you, in which case you need to grab the sharpest knife. And she gestures to the proper one placed down on the mat. You hold your dominant hand with the fork and cut with your indominate horizontally across. You do not scrape. You cut each piece and then eat it. Single piece and then eat it. Once you get to the thicker portion of the steak, you go to the side and cut it vertically and then eat it. You do not rotate your plate. This preserves the flavor of the food inside of it so that you may simply savor it for longer before the heat expires after you open it. The entree. It is very important that for the first 4 bites of the head of the table, everybody is silent to enjoy the food, to bask in it, and pace yourselves appropriately. You will chew each piece, she looks over at you deliberately, 20 times before swallowing. Now, you may begin. All right, everybody, I need first an intelligence check and then a sleight of hand check.
May I just roll the intelligence check and then?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a check sneak, not a save.
Okay, fine. Still 18.
18, 17, 15, 21, 19.
Oh god.
Everyone other than Kai follows the steps perfectly, and Kai just goes, here's a knife, here's a fork, cut it open, whack. All right, I deserve it. Bite. Sleight of hands. Tempest. Across the plate. It cut through a little too easily. You weren't expecting that. Steak that you eat is usually it involves a little bit of to cut through it, just a little bit.
A little bit of force.
And all of you see that it is very pink on the inside. This looks rare medium. But yeah,
As it should be.
of course. Alistair, you also have that same screeching noise that you produce as well. And both of you, whack, whack. 1.2 point.
2 point.
Yeah. You're still afraid of her.
Fair.
You
I was
haven't
hoping
earned
to
a
get
treat
to-
yet, so you still are afraid.
I haven't earned a treat.
I
Nope.
was hoping to get through this without any hits.
Unfortunate. 1. Now everybody's been hit once, except the 2-year-old who has been doing this perfectly. But she doesn't cut her own meat, she has the tutor cut it for her. Well, after all of this, go ahead, take your bite. Upside down on the fork. Put your teeth over the meat. Do not touch the fork and pull it out. Yep. And immediately, all of you are hit with a burst of incredible free-range cow flavor. The butter was absolutely perfectly cooked all the way through it, almost like it marinated in it, but probably not. All of the juices pour out easily, and just chewing is the easiest thing in the world for you all to experience. And Kai and Tempest, since both of you are major foodies, both of you are stunned for 1 minute chewing on this piece. After Call sees your expressions from the first bite, he smiles and then heads into the kitchen.
Insert Alistair mentally going 13, 14, 15. Like, he was prepared for this. He was prepared for the dish, not the taste, but he's still going to try.
Yeah, the taste is really good, though. It's not tedious to chew it this many times. It's not tedious. It's good. And then after that, you then start cutting more pieces and eating them one by one. And because of the nature of the steak and how delicious it is, for the first time in this interaction, Tempest and Kai, you are compelled to eat slowly because you actually enjoy each and every single bite so much.
Dear God.
And for the first time in this interaction, they're both perfectly quiet.
A blessing, truly.
Yes.
What have you done to them?
Kai keeps chewing after the meat's long gone in his mouth.
What's that sound?
That is called joy and bliss.
I've never heard them say. I never heard them.
I'm surprised you haven't heard them. But anyways.
You make fun of us for the fucking things, but now you make the jokes.
I'm allowed to.
That's like the #1 rule of DMing. One rule for the party, another rule for me.
Yeah. You haven't realized that yet?
It's
Exactly.
licensed hypocrisy.
I still got a story of him with the what you call them, who came to his door and he made sure they never came back again.
Oh yeah, that was a
Jehovah's
good story.
Witnesses.
The Jehovah's
Yeah.
Witnesses, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. We'll talk about that not on stream, thank you.
I've come to realize something. I'm paying you to insult me.
And you're still here.
We're all paying you for this.
You've been here the longest, Carl, out of all these people.
Because you're the only one that actually gives me any joy in playing this.
I'm glad I give you some amount of joy. But anyways.
That says an awful lot about you, Carl.
I'd prefer not to talk about myself here.
That's why he only insults me.
Yes. I could go on. I have to BRB for a minute. So...
Well, that's good timing because we were about to go on break, everybody.
Oh, thank God.
Yep, we will be right back.